Why rest in a place so painful and small? There's nothing to dazzle, no spark of enthrall. Who let this tavern become such a bore? Really, does an inn have so little in store? But what if I told you there's so much more? Let me show you a place I simply adore. Tired while traveling, I've got just to stay. Your own cozy cabin in the railway. The train never stops, you may go as you please, and everything's fine long as you pay their fees. But we can't stay too long now, just as before. And I could be wrong, is that blood on the floor? Looks like we aren't welcome, you can't ride for cheap. Let's venture on forward to the ocean's deep. Drunken treasures a haven below, but where it is exactly I never know. Oh, and don't be surprised by what lurks on outside, and really don't fight it. Believe me, I've tried. Let's all take a breather, we'll hope for the best. The first round's on me, but you'll pay for the rest. I hope that this tavern hasn't left you bored. Next up is a place that is fit for a lord. Follow my lead to the watering hole. Just know that the fog is always on patrol. This tavern's my favorite, it's got its own band, and they're always more than happy to lend me a hand. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Come visit these taverns, come and have a ball. Why settle for less and why settle for small? It's your game to play, why not come try 'em all?
I got a tragic backstory and my class is a meme. I'm the ace of the race, the other parties are whack. I'm a jack of all trades, including the jack. Excuse me, barmaid in a skirt, I hope you don't mind, but I'm a devious flirt. Let me up on the stage of your beauty, I'll sing, and I'll show you just how I strum my strings. of gold. Your scales are stunning, your character bold. May we see your hoard, we've been searching for miles. Maybe I could be the greatest gem in your pile. Ooh, hey you mercenary at work, why don't you join our team? And I give him a smirk. I promise you I can give you plenty.
Roll for persuasion.
Nat 20! Hey now, this is the life of the bard. Just how did you flirt with the guards? Hey wow, you're in for a treat as I flirt with every NPC. Woo! Ba-da-ba-ba. 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 Ba-da-ba-ba.
As you walk in the tavern, you notice a guy. He talks of destruction and if you're ready to die. He's the big bad evil guy, come to ruin your day. After giving his evil speech, what do you say?
Well, I grab my ukulele and sing.
Oh no.
Hey you with the villainous smile, why don't you come and stay and get to know me a while? We're two of a kind, two sides of a coin. Well, I've got no tail, I could give you some.
Oh boy.
Hey you, Mr. Evil and Snacks, you seem pretty hungry, why don't you have a snack? You can change your ways, I'll just roll with the luck. While I'm under 11, but I can still buy. Hey now, this is the life of the bard. Just how did you flirt with the guard? Hey wow, you're in for a treat as I flirt with every NPC. Woo! Hey now, this is the life of the bard. Just how did you flirt with the guard? This curse can be a bitch.
Well, you've successfully charmed the lich.
Wait, what?
That's the first time I properly hear that song. Oh god, that's so funny. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? I am back. I am feeling more alive. Yeah, let's go with that. Feeling more alive. Hello, hello. We just had a nice hold on, what was it? Riot, Spotify, right against Spotify. Yes, don't open the client. Thank you very much. This is fine. Just random shuffle and go. It's a little loud. There you go. How's the gig? Holy shit, that's really a lot of people right away. Hi. I'm afraid now. So, jump over. Yeah, so, some people might have noticed they are... Oh, this is way too serious for this. Hold on. I'm sorry. I need music in the background. It doesn't make me go, wait. I think Popski was pretty safe. So we will use Popski because better. How's everyone? Hello, Kyrie. Now, to get back to what we started, I don't play a game. We're going something game adjacent. Now, so this is the most played tabletop RPG in the world, and this by far the game I've put most hours into in the last 5 years. I think it's fair to at least talk about it a little bit. That's really good to hear. Like having to actually like get to properly wind down a little bit. That sounds really good. Rest is important. And yeah, I spent most of the morning today playing around with the Mid-Journey AI, and it's fucking amazing. Oh, yeah, I hope it was like the right speed too, when you're like, there's constantly something doing, but you're not like outright in a rush. It's the best way to work. Exactly. Yeah. That's the easiest best one. So you constantly keep working. You constantly have something to do because nothing is worse when work is like work. Stop. Work. You just I can't get in a rhythm. Obviously, working non-stop to the point that you're getting murdered is equally hard. Nightmare Supervisor wasn't in. Alright, that's also a very good thing. Now this is the first time I'm streaming under the label of Dungeons and Dragons, which is interesting. I've always wanted to, but I just don't have the right campaign or the right everything to do with people. So I've never done it before, but this will be an interesting experiment. We'll play more in a couple of days too, so no, tomorrow is Sunday. Yeah. Now, to preface what this is likely going to YouTube. I'm thinking rather than just put anything on YouTube, I might be a little bit more selective and start putting either clips or really good streams over, or things that I play in a continuous manner that is enough to go episodically. Just put anything, but this definitely would go on the YouTube because I think that this, if not an interesting stream, it's going to be an informative stream. Yeah, let's go with that. Oh wait, interesting, yes. Fun depends on your definition of fun, doesn't it? I thought we'd just go through the whole 21 pages of things that they've added and talk about it. How does that sound? From what I could tell from a brief conversations online, it seems like there's a lot of changes. While still trying to keep it 5e compatible. And I feel like this is often attempted. I don't know if often succeed. Like, I know Pathfinder really wanted Pathfinder 1e versus 2e to be compatible. And what happened was that now they have a couple of people that really like Pathfinder 1e. Yeah, I want to see. I know one thing that I really dislike. I really dislike it. And another thing that sounds really good. So I think, so I'm curious to see. D&D. Yes. Hello, Grim Reaper. This is in fact D&D. We're going through One D&D. They released the first Unearthed Arcana. And I'm curious to see what are their plans. I'm going through it a little bit. If you've ever played before, you might find this interesting. If you've never played before, well, I think this particular version of D&D is in fact being made for people like those, for those that have not played yet. You know, those that could get loved it. Great, that's great if you loved it. So I hope you'll find One D&D interesting. So start with the obviously made by Jerry Crawford, Mr. Perkins, and Rem Reininger. These are the three creative directors of D&D. Now I will say, I like all three are very interesting to hear. There's in a video where they explain their points as well. But I figured reacting to a video is less interesting than going through it myself. In this case, I feel like I'll add more to it than we're just reacting. Not that I don't have a lot to say to it, but it doesn't matter what their opinion is in the end, or what they explain in the video. In my opinion, what matters is what's on the paper. In this case, like they could have any reason, but if I don't like the reason, if I don't like the change, I won't like the change, and that's the point of this video. So, I think let's begin. Right? This document is the first in a series of Unearthed Arcana articles that present material designed for the 20 Players Handbook coming out in 2024, so we're 2 years away from it. The material here used the rules in the 2014 Players Handbook, except where noted. Providing feedback on this document is one of the ways you can help shape the generation of D&D. Now, if you play D&D, I will say, replying to their survey, and following along is actually a good way to change it. Like, this is the moment where if you aren't satisfied with the way D&D has been doing things, believe me, there's a few things that annoy the absolute crap out of me. This is the moment where they will listen. Like, this is easily the one moment where they will listen. Unfortunately, they sometimes listen too hard. Where, for example, I think both Fighter and Warlock were very interesting when it was still called D&D Next. And what we got in 2014 was an inferior version, including things like, we just added... I wonder if we should have a document on the sign, right here, where we just note down our things. Like, if people have inputs, I'd also like to discuss them, so if you have something, that'd be pretty good. So yeah, if you want to be listened to be heard by the guys, they will actually read the surveys and reply to those. Not directly, but like take the feedback and work on it. They've always listened to Unearthed Arcana, despite what people believe. Twitter rarely gets listened to, and Reddit probably even less. Instead, you will find the following content. All right, character races. These are the race options being considered for the Player's Handbook, all with updated design. Now we can really look at many of the new updated designs on Monsters of the Multiverse. Now, unfortunately, I do not think I have that book, which sucks. Let me actually check. Yeah, no, I don't have it. I could buy it. I could and should buy it, but I haven't bought it yet. Once everything. Once I'm a bit more stable economically, I might actually go and get it so we can look at that one and complete the entire package. But if you need any example, what usually happens is that they're trying to remove culture from a race. This way, a race is just its physical traits, the traits that everyone in the race is going to have, but that are not cultural, like no alignments, no particular skills, no particular knowledge, unless it's like some supernatural thing, which is funny because now they're hippo people who are supernaturally good at guns, which I find really funny. You own one. Which one do you own? Because I know that Monsters of the Multiverse was in fact split into 3 books. Hence why I ask. So, do you own hippos with guns? Okay. Yes, the funny thing is, the hippos with guns are in fact British inspired. And I say British because the GIF D&D Beyond Player's Handbook. That's the base one. Now, if you check on D&D Beyond, if you throw down the sources, you will also see one called Monsters of the Multiverse. That's where you find the new and updated monsters. What you have is still the older one, which is fine. It's entirely usable. But in Monster of the Universe, you find the new design sensibilities. They're removing short rests because they're pretty stupid, I agree. They're simplifying what a lot of enemies can do in general, from what I heard. I haven't read it yet. Except I'm running some campaigns that still are using the current monsters, and I don't want to cause chaos mid-campaign by changing to a different design philosophy. So once Strahd, which is the one I'm currently running, is finished, we'll read up on that and see how much I like it or dislike it. By the way, one thing has to be said. Something on paper could sound interesting, really good, or really bad, and then you actually play it, and it feels differently. That has to be said. Let me close that, it's not unnecessary. Character backgrounds. Here you'll see the fun role that a character's background is going to play in helping flesh out the character's origin. Now, I heard that backgrounds are supposed to be more involved than what they used to be, so I'm curious. Starting languages. Section specifies the number of languages a character knows when created. I really hope they remove spells that simplify languages so much. Like you either, because at the moment, if you have a caster or simply a warlock, you completely trivialize magic, 100%, because they can comprehend languages so easily, or find ways to understand languages. So a character, like say you want to play fighter, who's traveled across the world and has picked up a dozen languages in his travels, and you even pick like feats and all that for it, so you are really cool and you really show off this thing. And then the wizard hits level 3 and just goes, oh, I can do the exact same thing you were doing, except better. What's the point of having the languages then? If a spell completely trivializes it. Feats. Every first level feat mentioned here appears in the feats section, which contains both new and revised feats. This I'm curious about. Feats actually, until now, weren't really a part of official D&D. They were optional rules, and their power level and the way they were used was a little bit all over the place. So seeing first level feats means that they're grouping them up in power groups. In this document, any term followed by an asterisk appears in a glossary at the end. This glossary defines certain rules terms that appear in this document, focusing on terms that have been clarified or redefined or that don't appear in the 2014 Player's Handbook. Main issue with feats was just that it competed with stat increases. Yeah, also, that too. Unless you're building around it. There's certain feats that do trump stat increases. There's a reason why I ban Lucky, unless you give me a really good reason for it. Lucky makes just the problem with Lucky really is that it makes the game last so much longer, because every roll can potentially be re-rolled. Every roll suddenly has the player go, should I do it? Should I roll for it? Like every roll that doesn't instantly go your way, you wonder if you're going for it, and it can take a lot of time. Before delving these new options, please read this is playtest material sidebar. To learn more about design this article, we invite you to view the accompanying video. I can link that after the stream, so you guys can go read it. This article is presented for playtesting and feedback. This D&D materials in draft form usable in your D&D campaign, but not refined by full game development and editing. It isn't officially part of the game. Feedback. The best way for you to give us feedback on this material is in the survey we'll release on D&D Beyond. If we decide to make this material official, it will be refined based on your feedback and will appear in our D&D book. Again, they actually listen. Power level. The character options you read here might be more or less powerful than options in Player's Handbook 2014. If a design survives playtesting, we adjust its power to a desirable level before official publication. This means an option could be more or less powerful in its final form. From what I heard, and that's the thing I find more annoying, they are shifting even more the power advantage onto player characters, which might be a mistake. We'll get more into it later. Determining your origin. After choosing your character's class, it's time to consider the character's origin. Who are the character's ancestors, and how did the character spend the years leading up to a life of adventure? To help these answer this question, you choose 3 things for the character: a race, a background, a language. Now, languages aren't tied no longer to race, that's really good. A character's race represents ancestry and confers game traits to the characters. A character's background is a collection of characteristics that represent the place and occupation that are most formative for the character. The character origin overview table lists the traits your character gains from race background. Character origin overview. Oh, look at that. It actually gives us a nice list. Every creature and monster in the game has a creature type, asterisk. The creature types are humanoid, could be fae, it could be undead, I think in some cases as well. The fact that they are mentioning creature type means they might actually experiment more with different creature types. Like, not everybody's going to be a humanoid. You might have, which could have interesting effects regarding certain spells if they don't change the wording. Because hold person only works on humans. So if a satyr does not count as human, a satyr automatically manages to dodge one of the most dangerous spells in the game. And that's pretty good. That's pretty interesting, right? Like, it adds a lot of flexibility to character design. Size. The character size determines the amount of spaces the character occupies, as explained in 2014's handbook. Yeah, but every character is medium or small. So you're still occupying the same space. So I don't get this one. But speed fuels the character's movement, explained in 2014 player's handbook. That's the 30 feet thing, 5 feet per tile or per space. Lifespan. This lifespan is an average for a member of the race, assuming the dangers of adventure don't shorten that span. That's true. At least one character in my campaign risked dying of old age and was lucky and only aged by 10 years. Which was very interesting. Special traits. Each race provides special traits, a collection of abilities that characters gain from their ancestors. Oh, look at that. Background traits, description, ability score bonus. They decoupled race and ability score bonuses. This is good. This is really, really good. Because this way you can pick any race you want and you don't have to worry about your character being better or worse at a job just because you picked a particular race. I know some people complain about it, but hear me out. Your characters in D&D are already meant to be extraordinary. If you play an orc warrior, orc fighter, you're not the average orc fighter. You're probably stronger than normal orc fighters. So if you're playing an orc wizard, you're probably smarter than the most orcs. Why should you have a negative to intelligence and compete with that? That's really good. Tying it to the background means that the background could be whatever they want, and nobody was going to complain about it. Yeah, exactly, a prodigy, right? And not just and you put it right. It's not just a prodigy amongst their race, but a prodigy in their craft. Like, you have to remember that an apprentice wizard is challenge rating 1/4. You are level 1, so you compared to basic wizard that you might encounter as an enemy, you're already 4 times better, roughly. So you are meant to be better than others. So that's fun. Skill proficiencies. You get 2 skill proficiencies from a background. Okay, that's pretty much the same. Tool proficiency. Each background gives tool proficiency, which is basically like a profession. With 1 tool. Nice. That actually is kind of cute. That's a little bit more. Language. A character learns 1 language from a background. Again, decoupled languages from races. Because you might be an orc, but you might have been raised by gnomes. Why would you speak Orcish? I'm taking orcs and gnomes as an example because they're 2 very different races who have usually very heavily stereotyped. If you know what I mean. So, yeah. I think that's pretty good to do so. Feat. Each background provides a first level feat, a special ability acquired in a character's past. We'll have to go back and see. Now they're adding a lot of interesting level 1 feats that are also kind of really tied to the background. Like they're tiered feats where you get like Rune Carver Initiate, then you're Apprentice, and then you're a Master. And essentially kind of showcases your characters. Hey, fuck! I forgot to add it. You know what? Hold on. This might be the one stream where I can do it. Give me a second. Holy shit. How do I keep forgetting it? Chatbot, chat commands. Do I not have lurk? Do not have lurk, huh? Add new command. /lurk. Thank you for coming to the stream and lurking. There you go. Shout out. How do I do a shout out command now that I think about it? Add new command. Shout out. There you go. It seems good to do it now that we're doing it. Thank you. Thank you for coming and lurking in the chat. It is appreciated. Where were we? Where? Background, equipment and background. Okay, that's pretty basic. Basic background to help bring your character's backstory to focus and to distinguish the character from other members of the same class. For example, two characters might both be members of the fighter class. If one is a human guard and the other is a dwarf gladiator, they bring two different capabilities and flavors to the class. Very smart to do. I mean, it's already a thing, but nice to actually try to push the difference at level 1. Give players more ways at level 1 to express themselves. Although I do say you shouldn't overdo it, because especially at level 1, your adventure starts the moment your characters the dice hit the table. Right? Your character should have a story in the back, and it can even be somewhat interesting, but it cannot be more in the end than a reason to adventure. If you already killed the dragon at level 1, when we start, why are you out fighting goblins, right? And there might be a very good reason, but on average, if your character is level 1 and already killed the dragon, it's a little bit like, what? To choosing a race in the background, you choose a language that your character knows in addition to the common tongue, whatever language you gain from the background you chose. The combination of race, background, and language provide fertile soil for your imagination as you ponder your character's earliest days and imagine your character's family, occupation, hometown, and more. So you get 3 languages common, your background language, and a 3rd language that you choose. Okay, that's even better. Character races. As always, by the way, choose giant elk. It's the funniest thing. Character race. When you choose your character's race, you can determine whether your character is a member of the human race or fantastical race. This document provides descriptions and rules for the following race options. And here's probably going to be the very first thing we actually need to talk about. Human, Artling, Dragonborn, Dwarf, Elf, Gnome, Halfling, Orc, and Tiefling. Description of each race includes a section of game traits which your character gains if you select the race. NPCs of the same ancestry don't necessarily have the same traits as explained in the monster manual. The traits here pertain to player characters. Let's actually check this little box. Thanks to the magical workings of the multiverse, humanoids of different kinds sometimes have children together. For example, folks who have human parents and an orc or an elf parents are particularly common. Many other combinations are possible. If you'd like to play the child of such a wondrous pairing, choose 2 races or 2 race options that are humanoid to represent your parents. Then determine which of those race options provide your game traits, size, speed, and special traits. You can then mix and match visual characteristic, color, ear shape, and the like of the 2 options. For example, if your character is a halfling and a gnome parent, you might choose halfling for your game traits and then decide your character has the pointed ears that are characteristics of a gnome. Finally, determine the average of the 2 options' lifespans traits to figure out how long your character might live. For example, the child of a halfling and gnome has an average lifespan of 288 years. Interesting. The average lifespan seems a bit odd, but fine. What if you take half a race that doesn't have a natural lifespan? What's the average then? Do you break the math? Okay, I'm a humanoid. Warforged, but Warforged not humanoid. Heh. They'll have to answer that one. Well, obviously, the one race again that cannot miss is the human. I mean, humans, elves, and dwarves will be in any version of D&D. 100%. They are the ones that will forever. I noticed something interesting. There's no half elf or half orc. Humans are boring and horrible. I don't disagree on the boring, horrible. Well, we'll see if they're horrible. Like in real life, potentially, but like in game here in D&D, we'll see now what they're changing for it. Found throughout the multiverse, humans are as varied as they're numerous. They are relatively short-lived, but they strive to achieve as much as they can in the years they're given. True. They're skilled pioneers and artisans. They are builders of nations, roads, cities, and ships. They strive to secure their place in the world and in the annals of history by creating art, amassing wealth, making laws, and questing for immortality. Their ambition and resourcefulness are commended, respected, and feared. Now, if you go on planet Earth, you're probably right because there's no other race as advanced for us to do so. However, there are other animals that do destroy and fight. There are several kinds of ants that do go to war, and I would argue that several of those ants, in fact, probably go to war as much, if not more, than humans. And it's probably every bit as brutal for the dwarves as for the ants as it is for us. Humans are as diverse in appearance as people of Earth, and they have many gods. Scholars dispute the origin of humanity, but one of the earliest known human gatherings is said to have occurred in Sigil. Yes. Not anymore. Not anymore in the Dark Elves. Not anymore. They changed them. It's only the Dark Elves from Menzo Bazazaran. Menzo Bazazaran? Harry, could you please link me? What? Hi, lurking but not lurking. Hey Sam, how are you doing? Now, Dark Elves are a bit more complex nowadays in D&D. Could you check me where exactly Dritz the Urden is from? What's the exact writing? Is it Menzo Bazazaran? Am I remembering correctly? Because if it is, I'm impressed with myself because I've read like 2 Dritz books and none of them were about that flipping city. Now, Dark Elves in D&D used to be cave-dwelling, evil deity love worshipping, who's the goddess of lies and spiders and treachery. And they were a heavily matriarchal society that essentially took a... what if we take... That's one of the places he's from. Did I pronounce that correctly? Did I actually say it right? Holy shit, I'm very impressed. That's like his traditional city. And they're a heavily matriarchal society. They're a slaving society. And they are pretty brutal. They're like, if you... Menzo Baranza. Yes, it's very cute. Now, I don't actually have bubble tea, but I only have a very basic white tea right now, but I like the bubba tea, so... just so you know something, we're currently looking at the new version of D&D that's going to come out in 2 years. This is the first design document that they released, and I thought it would be interesting to go through it. Human traits, creature type humanoid, when we knew that. Size, medium about 4 to 7 feet tall, or small about 2 to 4 feet tall. 2 feet tall humans that's pretty small, isn't it? That's like 60 centimeters. I guess they really went for, but I'm surprised that they didn't go above, that they didn't max out the 7 feet, because I think there's some people are like 7.8 or 7.9 even. But they went with the minimum of about 2 feet. I would have just written 2 to 8 feet tall, but sure, or small. Chosen when you select this race, okay. Speed 30 feet, lifespan 80 years on average, sounds about right. I hope the heat is fine today, Sam. I saw earlier that there were 30 degrees in where you live. As a human, you have these special traits. You gain inspiration when you finish a long rest. Now, long rest is essentially like 8 hours of rest, and then you get again. Giving them inspiration as a default thing is an interesting choice. You're basically giving humans the ability to have advantage when one roll once per day. That's actually pretty good. Maybe a little bit powerful. Thank you for contributing to Totem, Reaper. Right now, it's unfortunately not working because I'm not playing the game. But thank you. I appreciate it. And next time we play Cult of the Lamb, I'll create a follower in your honor. Skillful. You get proficiency in one skill of your choice. That's pretty good. That means interesting, but I feel like they said they would remove proficiencies from races, and here's the first race that gets it. Interesting choice. Well, I'm not sure I agree or disagree with it. It seems odd to just have the first race be one that breaks what they were trying to do. Versatile, you gain the skilled feat or another first level feat of your choice. So, skilled field. Why not just write you gain one feat of your one first level feat of your choice instead of suggesting a skilled feat? It's not much to say about humans. They're pretty much middle of the road. Like you're versatile. You get to have you get to roll slightly better. You get to have a bit more choices and what things you can be good at. But nothing that really stands out and makes you go, wow. We're just humans. A bit more than yesterday, actually. But man, yeah, I think the Finland moving to Finland is would be the best choice, wouldn't it? Because fuck me. I hope work isn't too bad now that you're back to working by yourself. But yeah, Earthlings. That's a new race. That's an interesting one. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. Alright, I hope this is not too boring. Oddlings are supernatural beings who are either born on the upper plane of one or more ancestors who originated there. Their bright souls shine with the light of immortal beings who call the upper planes him. An Artling has the head resembling that of an animal, typical one with virtuous associations. Depending on the animal, the Artling might also have soft fur, downy feathers, or supple bare skin. The Ardling's celestial legacy determines the animal it resembles. The Ardling gains measure of magical power from their celestial legacy as well as the ability to manifest spectral wings. An Ardling's moral and ethical outlook is self-determined, however, not fixed by ancestry. 3 celestial legacies follow. Exalted, the fierce passion of Arborea, the heroic heart of Ishgard, and the wondrous nature of the Beastlands, called to Ardlings who have the exalted celestial legacy. Their celestial ancestors are heroic champions of the chaotic good planes. Heavenly, the blissful harmony of Arcadia, the unwavering justice of Mount Celestia, and the bucolic paradise of Bitopia touch the souls of Wartlings with the heavenly celestial legacy. Celestial ancestors are staunch defenders of the lawful good planes. Idyllic. The idyllic celestial legacy connects others not only to the Beastlands and Bitopia, but also the eternal compassion of Elysium. The celestial ancestors are paragons of kindness who hail from neutral good planes. I find it very interesting that this is actually put as these are meant to be the core races. Now, core races are usually meant to mostly avoid having to deal with the upper and lower planes because those can get a bit more exotic. This feels like they tried to fix 2 things at once and decided, well, why not do these things together? One race that is super, probably you'll find almost in any game you will play, everybody will go for it, is the Tiefling. Tieflings are descendants of humans that have had pacts or dealings or relationships with fiends, which includes demons and devils. They're separate things in D&D. Plus other chaotic beings from the lower planes. And they were meant to be an exotic race, and they kind of technically still are in 5th edition, but because they are by far the most played race, like easily. Like after human, second most played race, which is funny to think about. They kind of have been included with the core race because, like, well, everybody fucking wants them. Not adding them would be pissing off a lot of people. So this race with the upper planes thing seems to be like the mirror to the tiefling. Like, you are different kinds of tiefling based on which plane of hell or which layer of hell or which plane of the abyss. There you go. Sorry, the different things. So I'm trying to not mix up my cosmology. They instead created these artlings. At the same time, there's a lot of requests from certain groups of people to have more animal races in D&D. It can be because you have a few. You have the bunny people, you have the lion people, you have cat people, you have lizards and snakes. You have technically goat folk with satyrs. You have elephants. You have a few animal races. You have the turtles, which are great. You have a few. The turtles, by the way, just small tangent. Weirdest thing. How dare you make a race based on a turtle? And that race lives less than humans. Less than a normal turtle. You'd think, hey, there's a race of turtles. They at the very least live as long as like a Galapagos turtle, right? So like you slap 200 years on it, nobody will say anything. Having the turtle live less than like most turtles out there is very weird. So this seems to be like we take all those animal races and kind of bunch them up into one generic race. That way it's like, I want to play a cat person, I want to play a fox person, I want to play a bunny person, I want to play an axolotl person, I want to play a horse person that isn't a centaur. There you go. You have the artling. Mixing those two together seems weird, especially because I feel like the Aasimar already was the answer to the Tiefling, and Aasimar just needed some fixing around to make it as good as the Tiefling itself is. Like the foundation is solid. The abilities didn't translate well, but the idea itself is really good. Like I've played with several. I've played even one myself, and several people that play Aasimar. And they quite like the fact that they are an Aasimar. I hope this doesn't drop the Aasimar in favor, because I don't see the reason to have both. Let's see what they can do. Creature type humanoid, alright. Size medium, 4 to 7 feet tall, like the human, or small, about 3 to 4 feet tall. So can't be as small as humans, alright. 30 feet, lifespan 200 years on average. UNT, most fun race to make characters, either I've never played one of them. They changed the UNT, so I'm really curious to see what they've done. Again, do not have Monster of the Multiverse. I could get it, but look. Now, piracy is a thing in D&D. I have pirated a few books myself, because I own the physical copy of the book, but I do not own the digital, which is something they'll thankfully change. Like future books, I can buy them and have the physical book at home and get like a way to use the digital copy online. Fuck yeah, fucking finally. I really want that because I'd love to use those books and be able to apply them on a virtual tabletop and share it with people, or pass them around, so to speak. But you can't do that. So a few books I have procured to PDF. So it's not like I don't know where I could get Monster of the Multiverse. However, for the stream, it seems a little bit scummy to do. Maybe I am being too nice. I don't know. I'd separate the Artlings from the Celestial thing. I'd split the two. I'd really split the two things. That's my opinion. Let's see what they can do. Angelic Flight. As a bonus action, you spread spectral wings for a moment and fly up to a number of feet equal to your speed. If you are in the air, at the end of this movement, you fall if nothing's holding you aloft. By the way, apparently, there's a race in the newest book that are like a monkey race that can like glide. And apparently, with that race, Smash Bros. Melee type dashing is possible. You can do 5 feet, then 30 feet movement. You showed me that video? Which video? What are you talking about? Oh, if you mean the wave dashing. Yes, it's so good. I'm telling the others, it's so good. You can wave dash with the fucking monkey in D&D. Come on, that's so funny to think about. You can jump 1 foot high, dash 5 feet. Yeah. You can. It's so funny to think. I just see the monkeys dashing around the fucking place. Just go. I heard that, and my first thought was, I want to play that. There's nothing good. I don't know the usefulness of it, but the mental image of just having this monkey just going across the fucking battlefield. That's like Mach 5. Because you can get stupid fast too, like depending on your class and other items, right? Like you can make it ridiculous, and I really want to do that. Right. Angelic Flight. Okay, that's pretty basic flight. So it's like you glide, essentially. You can use this bonus action a amount of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you get all infinite uses when you finish a long rest. Here you can see that they've removed short rests, and are tying a lot more abilities to proficiency bonus. That's smart. Proficiency bonus grows as your level grows. It's separate from your class, so you can just, you can always expect something when your proficiency grows. It means that your character gets better. Celestial Legacies. Oh, they get like spells, of course. Exalted, Cat, Eagle, Goat, Mule. Thaumaturge, Divine Favor, Lesser Restoration. Heavenly is Elephant, Owl, Pig, Stork. Light, Cure Wounds and Zone of Truth. Idyllic, Bear, Dog, Raven, Toad. Guidance, Healing Word, Animal Messenger. Pretty middle of the pack the fast spells go, although the Healing Word one is really strong. I actually think they should... I'm not sure, at this point I'm not super sure if you did, but it's so funny. I think Idyllic is too strong, because Healing Word is not a spell you want to give out for free. Healing is a long-range, bonus action heal, and that makes it the best heal in the game. Guidance, easily the best cantrip of the three. Zone of Truth, Lesser Restoration, Animal Messenger. You can argue which one is better, but like giving any character a Healing Word, no matter what they're playing, is really strong. You have recipient of a Celestial Legacy that grants you magical abilities. Choose a legacy from the Celestial Legacy stable, like Exalted associated with chaotic good planes, Heavenly associated with lawful good planes, or Idyllic associated with neutral good planes. You gain the initial benefit of the chosen legacy encounter that you learn. You also choose the animal you most closely resemble. The table provides a few suggestions for each legacy. You don't gain wings but choose an animal that can fly. Oh yeah, because you get the wings elsewhere. Please send it... Oh yeah. No, I saw it separately. I think I saw it separately, because I remember him, because I've subscribed to him. I'm gonna put that in the Discord so people can see it, because it's so funny. I saw it separately. I said, watch his shorts. He is fun enough. He gave me an idea to do the stream, because he talked about it, and he said, oh, the next days I'll do a video looking in it. I'm still waiting. And so I went, you know what? I'll do the video myself. You're not providing me with the content I want, Mr. Bearded DM, so I'll do it myself. Here we are. That's a lot of abilities they get. So they get Flight, which is useful. They get Spells, which is really strong. You get hold on. Once starting third, fifth level again, you get the ability to cast a high level spell with this trait just shown on the table. Once you cast a spell with this trait, you can't cast a spell with it again until you finish the long rest. That makes it better, but it's still a free use of healing word, which is really huge. However, you can cast a spell using any spell slot you have at the appropriate level. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is the spellcasting ability for the spells you cast with the trait. Choose this ability when you select the legacy. So you can choose it. And on top of that, you also get resistance to radiant damage. Now, radiant damage is, as far as I know, not the most common damage form, but resistance to it is still pretty good. Like, this is a really, really powerful race. Like, you literally can make pigs fly, I just realized. You can be a pig who gains wings, cure wounds, and light your holy pig. For Italians, porco dio. Dio porco. Nobody but me gets it, and it's fine. Artlings bring a little bit of the upper planes with them wherever they go. On many worlds, the first Artlings use the magic of the lesser legacies to inspire and heal others. By virtue of this lesser legacy, some Artlings strive to make the world a better place. Others use the supernatural gift to be the best versions of themselves they can be. Still others are delighted to have a connection to the upper planes without the responsibility of always having to do the right thing. Very subtle way of going. Some Artlings, probably the one in your party, is going to be a proper fucking cunt. Alright. Next race is going to be the Dragonborn. The earliest Dragonborn hatched from the eggs of chromatic and metallic dragons. One story holds that these eggs were blessed by the dragons gods Bahamut and Tiamat, who wanted to populate the world of dragons with people created in their image. Another story holds that dragons created the first Dragonborn without the gods' blessing. Whatever their origin, Dragonborns have made homes for themselves on the world's material plane. Dragonborn look like wingless bipedal dragons, scaly, bright-eyed, and thick-boned with horns on their head. Funnily enough, for the longest time, Dragonborn had nothing to do with dragons, which was weird. Alright. Dragonborn of subchromatic ancestry have scales that are black, blue, green, red, or white. Which Dragonborn with metallic ancestry have scales that are the color of brass, bronze, copper, gold, or silver. When two Dragonborns whose scales are of different colors produce a child, the offspring scale match those of one parent or the other. Like their draconic ancestors, Dragonborn can exhale acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison. One can tell the type of energy or a Dragonborn breathes by the color of the Dragonborn scale. Weird that they still keep that. Now, I get it, but I feel like if somebody wants to have... My voice went weird there. I feel like if somebody wants to have lightning breath, but be a black Dragonborn, just let him be a black Dragonborn. Who gives a shit? Very odd choice. As a Dragonborn, you have these special traits. Your lineage stems from a draconic dragon progenitor. Choose a type of dragon from the draconic ancestor table. Choose affects your breath, weapon, and damage resistance trait. The chosen dragon also affects your appearance with your display, coloration, and other features reminiscent of that dragon. Black, acid, blue, lightning, brass, fire, bronze, lightning, copper, acid, gold, fire, green, poison, red, fire, silver, cold, white, cold. I mean, sure, pretty generic. Breath weapons. As an action, you exhale destructive energy in a 15-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a dexterity saving throw against DC equal 8 plus your proficiency modifier plus your proficiency modifier. On a failed save, a creature takes 1d10 plus your character level and damage of the type determined by your draconic ancestor trait. On a successful save, creature takes half as much damage. You can use this breath weapon a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended use when you finish a long rest. It feels like they nerfed it. You could call yourself to confuse the enemies. That would be so funny. Oh, he's a black Dragonborn. Wait, as you look properly at it, you see he's actually a green Dragonborn, painted black. It's not a face, Mom. It's who I really am. Shut up. We both know what color is your breath, you dumb fuck. It's not poison, is it? It's not acid, is it? It's poison. But Mom. Sorry. Your resistance and the damage type determined by your draconic ancestry. This makes gold and red probably the best ones. Because fire usually is the most common damage type. Dark vision, you have a dark vision range of 60 feet. That's the first race that has dark vision. That's interesting. Because D&D has a problem with every race slowly starting to have dark vision. Draconic language. You easily know the dragon language of you know the language of dragons. You can therefore speak, read, and write Draconic. See, this feels after the Artling so much weaker, right? Doesn't it? Like the Artling gets flight, you get damage resistance, and you get spells. The Dragonborn, you get to Spitfire, you speak like a dragon, and your resistance to the exact same thing that you're spitting out. Oh, and you see in the dark. It doesn't feel as good as the other. It's not as interesting. Well, Dragonborn of many worlds. Like dragons, Dragonborn have a mystical bond to the material planes and are spread across its many worlds. On some worlds, the earliest Dragonborn settlements were built near dragon layers so that the Dragonborn could pay tribute to the draconic progenitors. They kind of took the role of kobolds. Kobolds are the same thing. Many of these ancient settlements still exist. For example, the dragon-ruled continent of Argonesen on the world of Eberron has dragonborn cities tucked among its mountain ranges. That's new lore. On the other worlds, dragonborn ply their skills and settlements populate most of the known dragonborn, fulfilling an urge to expand their presence and influence, such as dragons do. That's a nice little detail, really nice way to tie in why your character is an adventurer. Dwarves, best race, easily. Resilient like the mountains, dwarves were raised up from the earth in the elder days by a deity of the forge, called by various names in different worlds, Moradin, Rearx, and others. That god gave dwarven an affinity for stone and metal and for living underground. Squat and often bearded, the original dwarves carved cities and strongholds into mountainsides and under the earth. Their oldest legends tell of conflicts with the monsters of mountaintops and the Underdark, whether those monsters were towering giants or subterranean horrors, or subterranean horror. Inspired by those tales, dwarfs of any culture often sing of valorous deeds, especially of the little overcoming the mighty. Creature type, humanoid, size medium, about 4 to 5 feet tall. You can play a human smaller than a dwarf. I don't know why it's funny to me. Dwarf traits. Lifespan 350 years, speed 30 feet. So it seems like they've just decided that everybody gets an average of 30 feet. Alright. So dwarf, you have these special traits, dark vision, okay. Dwarven resilience, you have the resistance to poison damage. You also have advantage of saving throws you make to avoid early end or end the poison condition on yourself. Okay. Dwarven toughness, your hit points max increases by 1 and it increases by 1 again whenever you gain a level. Essentially giving several they're basically putting the various sub-races into one dwarf. I wonder if sub-races are actually going to fall off completely. That seems so, like you have particular legacies, but if you pick a dwarf, like every dwarf has this, but like sub-races are now decided by backgrounds? I'm not sure how I feel about sub-races being gone. I guess it's good because it got ridiculous. Like elves have something like 14, 15 different sub-races in D&D, I think, if not more. It got pretty ridiculous towards the end, so it makes sense. Forge-wise, your Divine Creator gave you an uncanny affinity for working with stone or metal. You gain tool proficiency with 2 of the following options of your choice: Jeweler's tools, Mason's tools, Smith's tools, or Tinker's tools. I like how they explained it is a Divine Creator that made it like that. So at least they're keeping it like this. Stone Cutting. As a bonus action, you gain Tremor Sense with a range of 60 feet for 10 minutes. Ooh. Tremor Sense. You must be on a stone surface or touching such a surface to use this Tremor Sense. Stone can be natural or worked. You can use this bonus action amount of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Oh, that's really cool. This is a really cool ability. That means if you're ever in tunnels or something like that and the light goes off, the dwarf is fine. That's actually really cool that they have this thing, like Tremor Sense, as long as it's stone. Like you can literally do not need to see, they can feel the movement in the ground and everything. That's really cool as an ability to give. This is really good. Now I really want to play this dwarf. Like you're slightly tankier, You can make your own things well, and you can sense things moving in the ground and whatnot, and not just in a tunnel. You could be in a city, and there's pavements everywhere, right? Like, and you can see it, and you can see that. It's really, really interesting as a trait. This is good. Dwarves definitely. Hold on, this is the first thing written down. Dwarves, very, very good ability in stone cutting. It's not strong. That's the good part. It's not strong, but it's really interesting to have for a character. Like I said, you can give. What I want D&D to do more, and this ability exemplifies it, is to give people moment to be really, really jazzed up about having picked that ability, that race, that feat, where it just really stands out, where you can just go, I got this, and you know you do. That's so cool. That's really important for when you make a game. You have to respect the choices people make. Dwarves have many worlds. In some worlds in the multiverse, the fish dwarves that was built in hills and mountains, and the dwarven families who traced their ancestry to those elements call themselves hill dwarves and mountain dwarves, respectively. Earth and Kryn, the worlds of Greyhawk and Dragonland settings, respectively, are example of worlds that have such dwarven communities. In other worlds, dwarves have given themselves other cultural designations. For example, on the continent of Faerun, the Forgotten Realms, the dwarves of the south call themselves gold dwarves, and the dwarves of the north are shield dwarves. That's pretty good. Let's see. Oh, let's see what the elves give. I like how the dwarves had this much, and that's the dwarf. Elf. 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 Somebody at Wizard of the Coast has a favorite race, and they do not try to hide it. Created by the god Corellon, the first elves could change their physical forms at will. The elves lost this ability when Corellon exiled them from Arvandor for plotting with another elven deity named Lolth, who tried and failed to usurp Corellon's domain. There you go. When Lolth was cast down to the abyss, most elves renounced the treachery and earned Corellon's forgiveness, but that which Corellon had taken from them was lost forever. How do elves have the same speed as dwarves, though? It's a balance reason. Look at it this way. I don't know. Yeah, it's a balance reason. It used to be 25 feet for dwarves, 30 feet for elves. D&D has to occasionally sacrifice logic for the sake of balance. It never feels good to be the slowest character in a race. You shouldn't punish people in D&D, at least when playing tabletop games, for a choice they made. You should reward them for the choice they made, or you should give consequences, either of the two, but not punish them. And the 25 speed was kind of boring. No longer able to shapeshift the will, the elves were treated to the Feywild, where their sorrow was deepened by the plane's influence. Over the time one lost in Caress led many of them to explore other planes of existence, including various worlds in the material plane. I mean, why make everything the same speed? You have other adventures you could have. It's because if you start playing with tabletops, the theater of the mind, that 5 speed can make a huge difference over a longer campaign. You want people to have the same base speed and then reward them for being faster. What I personally would have done, is make elves faster and keep the dwarves the same speed as humans. What I would do. It's a very good point. Because elves probably should be slightly faster than a dwarf. But I guess they chose not to. That's it. That's the problem with D&D. What they're doing is they're kind of stripping away all these little things that made races feel a bit unique, which was also disadvantages. You can agree or disagree with it. I think disadvantages, if they're interesting, are really good. I'm not sure if 5 feet of speed is exactly the right way to do it. Like, I would have given the elves an extra 5 feet of movement to show that the elves have this typical wanderlust and travel around and do all these things where, you know, they're just naturally inclined to be faster. That way, the person who's faster has a choice. Do I take the extra 5 feet or do I match the others? Whereas the dwarf never has a choice when he was slower, right? Like, he always had to be slower than everybody else. That fucking sucks. Elves have the mystical ability to take on characteristics of the environments with which they're bonded. Drow to the Underdark, High Elves to the Fey crossing in the material plane, and Wood Elves to forests. Why does it sound so funny? Like, Drow get the Underdark, that's an entire different plane. High Elves get the material plane. Wood Elves just get the wood. These connections grant elves certain access to certain elves access to certain kinds of magic. But they're already leaving open the option to add more different elves. If you noticed. Because this could be sea elves, and mountain elves, fire elves. What made the speed only influence combat and not travel stuff? The thing is that that's what I mean. The 30 feet is combat. It's movement on a field. Like hold on, let me actually quickly show you. Give me a second. Just 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Can I briefly capture... there you go. Because right now, the way that's done, I'll take 2 random characters that I played with. One, that's a dwarf. This is an elf. There you go. Actually, funny, perfect. You have X amount of movement you can make. 5 feet is 1 tile of movement. Right? So they can move like this. Over 1 round, the elf can move, right now, or as it was, all the way to here. 6 spaces. Hold on. Did I do it right? See? 1 more. The dwarf can only move up to here. Next round, they move again their full movement. The elf gets all the way here. The dwarf, only getting to move 25 feet, is now, you know, still further behind still. You already lost 2 steps. And when you need to move quickly all over the battlefield, those 5 feet of movement over a few rounds are going to make a huge difference. And more importantly, would just frustrate the dwarf. It's probably would be better for D&D to find a better way to do that than this way. Let's go back to the character thing. Okay, so elves have pointed ears and tend to be light on their feet. They even say it though. Another common physical characteristic of the elves is the lack of facial and body hair. Elf traits: humanoid, medium, 5 to 6 feet tall, speed 30 feet, lifespan 750 years on average. I always wished they would go further into that. Like, okay, what does it mean, 750 years? It's like an insanely huge lifespan for us. As an elf, you have these special traits. You have a dark vision for a range of 60 feet, elven lineage. You're part of an elven lineage that grants you supernatural abilities. Choose a lineage from the elven lineages table. Drow, the lineage of the Underdark. High Elf, the lineage of the Fey Crossing and other magical locations. Or Wood Elf, the lineage of primeval forests. You gain the first level benefits of that lineage. Starting at 3rd level, and again at 5th level, you also gain the ability to cast a spell with this trait. Once you cast a spell with this trait, you can't cast a spell with it again until you finish a long rest. I really hope they don't start slapping a lot of what do you call them? A lot of just spells onto people's character sheet for free at level 1, because it's a very boring way to make races be more interesting. You could give magic-like abilities. You can make them stand out more rather than just you can cast something. In my opinion, that what you showed is more travel distance than what I was saying. It should be more influence that you sometimes lose an attack turn because you're slower, but overall you're a dwarf, you do more damage than elf in the one. But that's not how D&D works. In D&D, damage is decided by your race and not your class. A dwarf is more travel distance than what I was saying. Yeah, but travel totally matters in combat. When you travel miles, when you're traveling in miles, you still move as fast as the slowest person because there's no point all traveling to the same city. The elf arrives half a day before the others. If you have some people miss entire turns, because combat lasts on average 3 turns in D&D. Okay, 3 to 4 turns. If a dwarf misses 1 turn of combat, that's 1/4 of combat. They're moving and saying, "Okay, that's it. That's my turn." That's kind of boring. There's more interesting ways to show an elf is quick on their feet, and a dwarf is, or that the elf is quicker on the feet than a dwarf. And a dwarf and a human could probably be moving slightly at the same speed. What you're suggesting would require a system that isn't D&D. There are systems that do in fact really have those differences that you're talking about, but in those games, the system and the game are built and balanced around the idea that an elf moves faster, but a dwarf deals more damage. That's not D&D, unfortunately. Like what you're saying is not wrong. It's just the focus in the game is different elsewhere. Setting a third, 5th level, you're going to cast spell, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. So like the other. Fate answer, use advantage on saving throws to make you avoid or enter charm condition yourself. Keen sense, you have proficiency in the perception skills, so you can actually give perception to some races. Skills, I mean. You don't need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. You can finish a long rest in 4 hours and spend those hours in a trance-like meditation during which you retain your consciousness. Drow, the range of dark vision increases to 20. You also know the dancing line cantrip. High elf, you know the prestidigitation cantrip. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can place a cantrip for different cantrip from your arcane spell list. Arcane spell list? That's... what the fuck is that? Your speed increased to 35 feet. See, Wood Elf was faster. Wood Elves get plus 5 extra feet, so they actually did think about it. Fairy Fire, Darkness, Detect Magic, Misty Step, Long Straight, Path Without Trace. High Elf is probably the best one here, but they're all pretty... they're all pretty boring. This is actually pretty boring, I'm gonna be honest. They could do better. Come on. After the dwarf, this is a super generic thing to do. Right, let's see what they say about the elves in many worlds. After leaving the Feywild, elves established deep roots in worlds throughout the multiverse. Within their respective domains, elves often used their magic and other resources to build fabulous enclaves, the subterranean cities and outposts of Drow, the gleaming towers and citadels of the High Elves, and the forests and sanctuaries the Wood Elves are nothing short of architectural wonders, which reflect their builders' otherworldly origins. Drow, known for their white hair and dusky grey skin tone, Drow typically dwell in the Underdark. Noteworthy exceptions include Dritz the Urden, who has like 30 books about him now, and Jarlax's Bainmer, 2 Drow adventurers of the Forgotten Realms, who shunned their subterranean homeland. Some Drow societies avoid the Underdark altogether. On the world of Eberron, for example, Drow dwell in gloomy Fanebrov forests in Cyclopean ruins on the continent of Sendrick. Interesting that you don't mention that those same Drow, technically speaking, have a connection to the Fire Plane, but whatever. High Elves. On some worlds, High Elves have referred to themselves by other names. For example, the Sun Elves and Moon Elves of Tyrell, the world of the Forgotten Realms setting, are High Elves, as are the Sylvan Estuary and Cullen Estuary of Krynn, the world of Dragonlance, and the Irani of Eberron. I'm sorry. I don't speak Elven. Wood Elves. Wood Elves are known across the multiverse with many names, including Wild Elves by many other names, including Wild Elves, Green Elves, the Forest Elves, Brugak are inclusive Wood Elves and Earth, the world of Greyhawk settings. It's pronounced Earth, by the way. They're not very subtle. While the Cargonesti on the Tynedal are Wood Elves of the Cargonesti and the Tynedal are Wood Elves of Kryn and Eberron, respectively. What does Gnome get? If Gnomes get spells as well, I'm gonna call bullshit. Gnomes are magical folk created by the gods of hand with hard work, invention, trickery, and life underground. The earliest gnomes, some elves are pretty boring. After the dwarves, the elves are pretty boring. The earliest gnomes were seldom seen by other folk due to gnomes' secretive nature and their propensity for layering in sylvan forests, hillside burrows, and sprawling warrens under mountains. What they lacked in size, they made up for in cleverness and cunning. They confused predators with elaborate traps and low, narrow, labyrinthine tunnels. They also learned useful magic from gods like Garl Glittergold, Bervin Wild Wanderer, and Baravar Cloakshadow, who often lived among them, usually in disguise. Gnomes are petite folk with big eyes, pointed ears, and wistful imaginations. Harkening back to a time when their ancestors hid in tunnels and under thick forest canopies, many gnomes like the feeling of a roof over their head, even if that roof is nothing more than a hat. That's actually a cute line. A humanoid, small, about 3 to 4 feet. Interesting that the dwarf, who is 4 to 5 feet tall, is counts medium, whereas the gnome, who is 3 to 4 feet tall, counts as small. Well, I guess it's size in this case decides as to how large you are. Speed 30 feet, lifespan 425. You get dark vision. Okay. Gnomish cunning. You have advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. Okay, that's pretty strong. That's really, really strong. Wow, that's really strong. Holy fuck, that is too much. This is too strong. Saving throws, being able, average, to roll, because saving throws, you just, and this is going to, later on you'll see what I mean with it. Saving advantage means that you roll 2 dice and take the better result, which raises the average so much. Like, it's an insanely strong thing to get. And advantages on saving throws means that anytime you're targeted almost anytime you're targeted by a magic spell, you'll have advantage, and it is huge. You can go gnome, rogue, and you're pretty much going to frustrate the ever-loving shit out of your dungeon master. You're part of a gnomish lineage. You're part of a gnomish lineage that grants you supernatural abilities. Choose a lineage from the gnomish lineages table. Forest gnome, the lineage of magic-filled forest, or rock gnome, the legend of primeval mountains. You gain the benefits of that lineage. Intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. They get us casting spell. Another one. It's slightly different at least. You know the mana illusion can't. She also casts a speak of animal spell of trade. I mean, that's what gnomes do. Yeah, but they could have done it differently than just... It's not a third race that just goes like, oh, you get a spell. It's a bit boring. You know the mana illusion cantrip. You can also cast a speak of animal spells with this trade. You can cast with the trade a number of proficiencies. Okay, it's slightly different because you cast a proficiency rather than the spell slots. But you can also better use when you finish a long rest. You go to the spell slots. You can still do that. You know the mending and prestidigitation cantrip. In addition, you can spend 10 minutes casting prestidigitation to create a tiny clockwork device. Just a toy, fire starter, or a music box. Casting the spell in this way consumes 10 gold worth of raw materials, string, gears, and the like, which you provide during the casting. When you create the device, you determine its function by choosing one effect from prestidigitation. The device produces that effect whenever you or another creature takes a bonus action to touch the device and activate it. If the chosen effect has options within it, you choose one of those options for the device when you create it. For example, if you choose the spell Ignite Extinguish effect, you determine whether the device ignites or extinguishes the fire. The device doesn't do both. Why? That is such a weird thing to have. Such a weird. I was like, oh, you can make like Dumbledore's lighter where you like capture lights and you can return them. No, you can either capture the lights or return the lights. Does it really make a difference if you can't do both? Hello, Lupin. Hi, how are you doing? Lots of love. How is it going? How's the heat? Such a weird thing to remove. Why? To do. You can't. You can have 3 such devices and accesses at any time, and each one dismantles after 8 hours after its creation. What the fuck? Oh, Merm sassy. You can also touch one of your devices and dismantle it as an action. If the device is dismantled, the 10 GP of materials used to create it can be reclaimed. Good. I don't get the, oh, you can only pick one. Doing well, just order pizza. Now we're waiting for the game to start. Football. Enjoy the footballs. Enjoy the balling off the foot. Who is playing? Gnomes past, present, and known to equate secrecy with safety, which is why gnome settlements are often tucked away or concealed by magical illusions. Gnomes who have ancestral ties to forests are called forest gnomes. Rock gnomes who ancestors well, we kind of know this. Are rock gnomes. It's pretty much repeating everything. Bournemouth versus Arsenal. All right. English Football League. We're cheering for Arsenal. I mean, I must admit, I had never heard of Bournemouth before you mentioned it, so... I'm pretty sure Kyrie might know more about it, and I'm not sure he's here. If Arsenal lose to Bournemouth, they just... there you go. Hello, Kyrie. Welcome back. Cherished and guided by gods, halflings. Cherished and guided by gods who value life, home, and hearth. Halflings gravitate towards bucolic. Hey, bucolic. I'm sorry. That's a word I actually do not know. Bucolic. Relating to the pleasant aspect of countryside and country life. What the hell? Oh, sorry, I always forget. It's not Lupin, it's Lupin. That's it. Many halflings are blessed. I am doing well, thank you. Or unless you mean Sam. Hello, how are you doing today? Hope you're doing. Hope you're doing. I'm doing alright. Hello, Gift of Gabby. Or Gift of Gab. Oh, Gift of Gab. Oh, that's really clever. Oh, that's a really clever name. What? Oh, thank you for following, Gabby. Well, looping. Oh, thank you for the follow, Gabby. By the way, the name is really clever. I realized it. I like it a lot. We're looking at One D&D. Currently, we're still on the creature races because every creature race, every new human player race is a tangent. That's the right way to pronounce. Well, in this case, I'd simply have to say, do you when you created it, was it Arsène Lupin or was it Moody Lupin from Harry Potter? Basically, it's the two ones that come to mind. Berg, what the fuck? Why is that one allowed? Yet the Nebi Booba emote was banned by Twitch. I say that's racism against bunny VTubers. We're not allowed to show the booba. What is this? Anyone spend time on halflings in particular? It's from Arsène Lupin. Arsène Lupin. Yeah, it's kind of like Nebgen, where I've heard Nebgen, Nebi, Nebgen. Even French people are debating it. Really? Are they? Sam, is that true? Are French people debating how you pronounce Arsène Lupin? I didn't know that. Let's just move to the halfling trait. Yondala, Brandeberries, and Charmelaine. Sam's like, really? As a halfling, you have these special traits. Brave, you have advantage. 100%. Interesting. I didn't know that at all. That's the first to hear of it. I've never heard of it before. Well, number 2. Brave, you have advantage and saving throws you make to avoid or in the frightened condition yourself. That's actually cool, very flavorful. Halfling Nimbless, you can move through it with the pace of any creature's size larger than yours, but you can't stop there. Okay. Yeah, I believe Lupin too. Gonna use Lupin because look, man, he is not only one of my favorite literary characters, as one of my favorite anime characters, and one of my favorite book characters. When it comes to like Harry Potter, like even movie wise. So, fuck it. It's still better than the Italian to pronounce it, which is like they pronounce it Lupin. It's just so funny. Lupin. It's like they try and then they go, I'm not giving the French people Lapin. I made 10 dungeon maps in one timer for my campaign. I'll DM later. Oh, really interesting. Latin means something like weakling or something similar, or like idiots. There's different ways to translate. 10 dungeon maps in one town map for my campaign. What are you using for that? What's your campaign about? I'm very curious, Gabby. You said always like making dungeon and town maps. Fuck the nasal syllables. Yeah, Germans were like, no, what? No, it's honestly, Italians could pronounce it properly. 100%. There's also rabbits called Lapin. Yeah, the Lapin race. I don't remember where from. I know that's the famed Lapin race. I don't remember where the hell I heard that. I literally used that word to describe the race in Dia's D&D campaign. And I don't remember where the hell I heard it before. My 11 maps were all done yesterday. Oh, right. You just knocked them out all in one day? Nice. That's impressive. I never am quite super satisfied with my maps, so I always tend to like look around for other people's maps, and then maybe if they are on something like Incarnate, and I get to modify them, I modify them slightly here and there. But I always feel a little bit bad. They're not pronounced the same. Yeah, it's Lapin. Or something like it. Hold on, let's just check. When you roll a 1 on a d20 for d20 test, you can reroll the die and you must use the new roll. Okay, that's pretty good. A d20 test. That's interesting. They changed the wording. It's a post-apocalypse fantasy campaign, 167 years after magical nukes ended civilization, which was future magic tech, and the bomb set the tech down to the Renaissance. Interesting. So future magic. So okay. So that's actually really fascinating. Why the 167 years? Is it like, has that any meaning, or just it sounds like a good enough time? I'm curious, because I always feel like people choose numbers for a good reason, or it's either really good reason, like really interesting, or just a completely random reason. So I'm curious to hear. But that actually sounds pretty cool. So pre-industrialization, you mean? Huh. That's actually a really good way to just have like art. I feel like if you look at most fantasy, it's in fact almost all of them are technically post-apocalyptic fantasy. I would say even Lord of the Rings is post-apocalyptic. One. Oh yeah, the natural stuff. The Halfling is pretty middle of the pack. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's pretty much the same. Orcs, however, I am really curious about. Now, I really like orcs. They have gotten a lot of bad rep in D&D, so this is going to be interesting. The lore, I'm also interested. While you write, I'm going to go through this. Oh, there's going to be a magic tech in cooperation with Lord of the Rings. Yes! And Warhammer. And not the fantasy one, but Warhammer 40k. So you can play a Space Marine against the Goblin. You can have Gandalf fight a Warhammer Fantasy. Warhammer. That's a good point of view. That's a good POV one. The first 60 years, magic was outside World Magic Storms. Oh, okay. So like it took several years to actually get to magic being usable. That's a good point of view. I'm wondering, what do you mean about? About, you mean the most fantasy post-apocalyptic? Yeah, I fully believe it, and I can explain it. But Warhammer was announced earlier, wasn't it? I was pretty sure it was announced around the same time. Because I remember them being announced roughly not too long after they had the really bizarre Walking Dead collaboration. At least that's what I remember. And you may correct me. Orcs trace their creation to Grumsh, the one-eyed god, an unstoppable warrior and powerful leader. Grumsh, sorry. Armed his children with certain gifts to help them thrive on worlds beset by monsters, even when they turn their devotion to other gods. Orcs retain the gifts that the one-eyed god bestowed upon them: might, endurance, determination, and the ability to see in the dark. You'd think a god that has one eye probably wouldn't give an sight-based ability, but what do I know? And what cast the Wild Magic Storm was like essentially the equivalent of Fallout. I'm gonna keep asking questions in between because I'm curious. Orcs are on average tall and broad. They had grey skin, ears that are small and slightly pointed, and prominent lower canines that resemble small tusks. Young orcs are often told about their ancestors' ancient conflicts with elves in forests, dwarves in the mountains, and invaders from evil planes of existence. Orcs just fucking fight everyone. Alright. Inspired by those tales, young orcs often wonder when Grumsh will call them to match the heroic deeds of their ancestors, if they will prove worthy of the one-eyed god's grace. Nobody's mentioned that Grumsh is technically very evil. Humanoid size, medium of 6-7 feet tall, speed 30 feet. It seems like 7 feet seems to be like the stopping point on height. So look, you have these special traits. Adrenaline Rush. You take the dash action as a bonus action. When you do so, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. Okay. That's interesting. That's actually pretty good. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you gain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Wow, that's really good. Have dark vision range 60 feet. Powerful build. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity in the weight of your the weight you can push, drag, or lift. Relentless endurance. When you're reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can drop to 1 hit point instead. Once you use this trait, you can do so again until you finish a long rest. They just kind of kept the base the half-orc, combined it with the original orc, and called it a day. Yeah, right. 107 years was picked because it felt like the mansplaining camps would have settled down for a while. Yeah, that's one thing I always felt like Fallout. Really weird, where it's like, oh, it's been 200 plus years since the bombs fell, and people are still living in huts. There have been apocalyptic events in human history. The Bronze Collapse was so bad, people completely forgot the ability to, or borderline forgot the ability to write. It basically died out in entire regions. And 200 years later, empires rose in those regions. Why are the Americans, after 200 years, still living in fucking huts? That's weird. That's weird. I'm sorry. That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, Mr. Fallout. That does not work like that. Humanity would have bounced back. Sorry, that's a entirely different tangent. Let's not talk about Fallout lore. Tiefling. And how does his region look now? After everything has happened, like how does it work now? Like people rebuilding and similar other people that remember the previous times, probably, because 167 years for stuff like elves is like yesterday or something like it. Tieflings either born in the lower planes or have one of our fiendish ancestors who originated a tiefling, pronounced tiefling, is linked by blood to a devil, a demon, or a Yugoloth, or some other fiend. This connection to the lower planes is for better or worse the tiefling's fiendish legacy, which comes with the promise of power yet has no effect on the tiefling's moral outlook. A tiefling chooses whether to embrace or lament the fiendish legacy. The 3 legacies are as follows. I'm sorry. Abyssal, the heartless entropy of the abyss, the howling caves of pandemonium, and the vast despair of carcery. called the tieflings who have the abyssal fiendish legacy. Horns, fur, tusks, black blood, and peculiar odors are common physical features of such tieflings, most of whom have blood of demons coursing through their veins. Most elves tied to the bombs being dropped on them specifically. Why is it always the elves that get nuked? Fuck you in particular. As somebody who really likes dwarves, but also really like elves. Good. But yeah. So for the most part, knowledge of the old world is still lost somewhat, is what I'm understanding. Like, people know of it, but nobody knows by themselves. Chthonic. Elsewhere, the Chthonic fiendish legacy not only feel the tug of Karsi, but also the greed of Gehenna and the underworld gloom of Hades. Some of these tieflings look cadaverous, others possess the unearthly beauty of an incubus or succubus, or they have physical features in common with a night hag, a Yugoloth, or some other neutral evil fiendish ancestor. Infernal. The Infernal fiendish legacy binds tiefling by blood not only to Gehenna, but also the raging battlefields of Acheron and the diabolical Nine Hells. Horns, spines, tails, golden eyes, and a faint odor of sulfur or smoke are common physical features of such tieflings, most of whom trace their ancestry to devils. Medium, about 4-7 feet tall, or small, about 3 to 4 feet tall, for the one poor dude who unfortunately happens to have his grandfather was an imp. Old world knowledge is slowly being forgotten. Oh, so adventurers are literally going around discovering ancient the ruins and whatnot, just the ruins from the old world. That's actually pretty interesting. Speed 30 feet, lifespan 100 years on average, slightly longer than humans. Dark vision, fiendish legacy, of course they just get spells, nothing interesting. Otherworldly presence, you know the thaumaturgy cantrip, when you cast it with this trait, the spell uses the same spell casting you use for fielding for fiendish legacy traits. That's boring. Spells, resistance, oh, you get resistance. Poison, necrotic, fire, where sickness, old person, false library, hellish rebuke, darkness. That's boring. These spells, that's no. Don't do that. This is so generic. I get it. The interesting stuff is kind of being stuffed into the backgrounds, but like, you have the dwarf stuff that is really cool. And the fiends just are like, oh, you resist poison, and you can throw poison at people. You could do better. You paid more. You paid too much to tell me gnomes made the bombs to end a consistent continent wars or consistent wars with elves. So it was gnomes versus elves, and gnomes nuked everything. That's actually kind of cool. It was like, alright, fuck it. Y'all gotta die. Now I'm not too happy about the tiefling. It's tiefling, elf, gnome, and the artling are like, come on. You can do better. People will play a tiefling anyway, because a lot of people really like looking like a succubus. And that's not just men, by the way. That's just both genders really like to... people really like being the seductress kind of character. Or just a tiefling appearance. I know at least 2 people in my chat who are absolutely nutty about them. So, quick review. Races good to remove ability scores. Do not just add spells to replace racial traits. Very boring. Like, you shouldn't compete with a wizard or any kind of caster with things that your race gets. Like, the Dragonborn, maybe it's not the most interesting they could do, but just giving them, like, okay, elves just being like, you can cast a random spell, or tieflings being able to throw poison at people is such a boring thing to do. At least the dragons like breathe the element associated to their scales. That's like interesting somewhat. Right. Character background. Let's move on to part 2 of this. We're almost 2 hours into the stream, and I just finished races. Your character back is a collection of characteristics that represent the place and occupation you're most formative for the character. Is this meant for D&D, by the way? I have to ask, Abby. Is this meant for like D&D campaign? Are you looking for players? Hello. Allow me to introduce myself. Build a background by using the rules to build a background section. Select the pre-made background from the... Okay, that's 3 ways you can create a background. Select the pre-made background from the sample background section, and then customize the rules and build your background section. Good. No matter whichever background you choose, consider this question from your character's viewpoint. How does your background influence your current worldview? It's a 5e game. Alright. It's... that's pretty good. For 5e, that sounds pretty good. With the rules in your build up, no matter which background, how does your current... Did you embrace or reject your background? Interesting. Did you form any relationships during your background that endure today? Good questions to ask. Good ideas to give to players. Build your background using the rules. By the way, funny thing, you always could build your background in 5th edition. They just are so bad at explaining it, most people didn't know. Anytime I mention that to people, they always sit there going, wait, really? Really? Using the rules here, you can build a background from scratch or customize a pre-made background focusing on details related to the backstory you have in mind for your character. When you build a background, your character gains the features in the background features section below. As you make choices for those features, think about your character's past. Where did they spend most of the time? What did they do for a living? What capabilities and possessions did they acquire? What language did they learn from their family, associates, or studies? How did their past affect their ability score? Their ability scores. If you instead decide to customize a pre-made background, you can choose any feature in the background and place it with the features below and it's of the same name. For example, if you want to change a background's language feature, you can place that feature with the language feature below. Good. Really, really good. Give me good examples, good ways to play around and decide to do things. Thank you. It's part survival, part castle building, radio, and part kingdom building. Ooh. I've always wanted to build my own castle in a 5e game. I've always really wanted, never got to do it. I've had so many third-party supplements to do it, and just never had a character that could do it. I've never had a campaign go that way, or a character got the chance to really to do that. I've even offered it to players, and because it's like at this point, if I can't do it myself, I want to see somebody do it. One character got his own castle. I was so excited. I was like, yeah, finally the campaign done. Fuck. So that's one dream I need to do. I want to have a party with our own base castle with we can upgrade and can go around recruiting people. You can defend it against others. It sounds so cool. That's so awesome. I really hope your campaign goes well. So background features ability scores. That's basically what they had with the bases, not the abilities. Choose choose 2 ability scores, increase 1 by 2 and another 1 by 1. Alternative, choose 3 ability scores, increase each of them by 1. Rarely people do that. When elsewhere at the worst, we're taken in by Heron. My rabbit folk replace halflings and care for the elves. Honestly, not a bad idea. If gnomes are important in your race, replacing halflings is good because they feel like they often share similar design space and care for the elves. So basically you have bunny folk as an important race and the elves are sort of like the survivors. Interesting. What did the elves do to deserve to get nuked like that? Skill proficiencies. You choose 2 skills. The character gains proficiency in them. Tool proficiency. Already heard that. 1 language. Choose 1 language for the standard languages and rare languages table. These appear later in the document. Your character knows that language. Feed. Choose 1 first level feed. Equipment. Your character gains 50 GP to spend on starting equipment. The character keeps any unspent GP as spare coin. Honestly, I like the fact that you just got a very basic setup here, but this is for ability background. Okay, it's fine. Ability score increase from elsewhere. Since 2014, races have received ability score increase from several sources, either from a race that has the ability score increase traits from ability score rules attached, called the multiverse, multiple, and other books. If you make characters using one of those older sources and get ability scores increased from that, the characters can also get ability score increases from background, unless you forgo the older ability score increase to gain increase from the backgrounds here. I will be right back really quick, if you'll allow me. I'll be just a minute. I'm more adopted with a whole extended family. Okay. Interesting. Okay, I'll be back in a second. Enjoy the music. I'm back. Sorry. Hello, hello. Whoops. Sorry, just replying to somebody. Sam, thank you. The herons live in houses carved from hills with many layers below, like rabbits do in the birth. I have to say, as a bunny myself, I am quite partial. So, yes, please tell me more about the herons. I am very curious. If you want, of course. Just one final thing. Replying some. Well, I said replying to you that I corrected myself. I didn't want to just put you on the spot like that. I'm terribly sorry. I didn't know how to handle it. Awesome. I need to study 3D modeling more so I can work on my VTube model. I've been told. Good hearts, they're very cute, but they tend to fight about. I've been told that the good way to start just figuring out 3D modeling is get something from another place that would work at the live 2D model and just start working on the joints and getting it to move. The problem with 3D modeling is that a lot of people try to create the model and then try to create the 3D and then try to animate it. Break it apart in smaller pieces. Like, if you want to learn 2D modeling for your VTuber model, start just modeling it before you start the movement. Don't focus on both things at the same time. Break it into smaller chunks. That's what I'm saying. Don't worry. Building the background, that's pretty generic, but I like it. It's a really good, solid base that people can go off on. Actually happy that they thought of giving proper examples. Sample backgrounds. As the collection said, I could choose this with okay. 2 + 2 wisdom + 1 intelligence. Makes sense for Acolyte. Inside religion, calligrapher's tool, celestial magic, initiate, divine. I've noticed something that I don't like. Now, other backgrounds have occasionally really cute ideas. Hold on. I'm about to swap to a different thing. Hold on. Backgrounds. It feels like they're removing stats in favor of adding something else. They're removing interesting things in favor of just basic stats, and I'm not happy about that. Are you not showing up? I will briefly. There you go. I'll quickly remove this in a second. Now, if you go to backgrounds, game rules, backgrounds. Not many backgrounds are interesting, but if you take the same Acolyte we saw here, over here you get some ability scores, skill proficiencies, a tool proficiency, which is nice, sure, a language, and a feat. Now, as we saw, you could replace the feat with any feat you want. You're not settled here. Whereas the background feat for this one, instead you go Acolyte, and that gives you as a feature Shelter of the Faithful, which is a separate feature. As an acolyte, you command the respect, inherent culture. Every major achievement adds a charm to their bracelet or necklace of charms. Hire against the first charm when you turn 1 year old. Ooh, it's actually really cool. So, like, they eventually keep collecting more and more bracelets or necklaces to go around. It's actually really nice. That's a really cool way to, like, show how powerful, like, how respected a heron is. You just have this heron show up and, like, both arms filled with bracelets. You're instantly interested, like, ooh. Or it could be a quest. A heron does not have enough bracelets and it needs help to go out, and you help the heron earn bracelets out and about. And that's one interesting way to do it. Like, maybe they want to impress someone. Actually could. Yeah, but here, you lose this feature, which is, as an acolyte, you mark the respect of those who share your faith, and you can perform the religious ceremonies of deity. You and your adventuring companions can expect to receive free healing and care at a temple, shrine, or other established presence of your faith, though you must provide any material components needed for spells. Those who share your religion will support you, but only you, in a modest lifestyle. You may not have ties to specific temples dedicated to your chosen deity or pantheon, and you have a residence there. This could be a temple where you used to serve, if you remain on good terms with it, or a temple where you have found a new home. While near your temple, you can call upon the priest for assistance, provide the assistance you ask for is not hazardous, and remain in good standing for temples. This is so much more flavorful and gives the DM something really cool to work with. I played a character that was a Warforged Paladin who was a acolyte. And the idea was that not only would he go out and about working for the god, but also he was converting people to the god. So eventually he left a few places with shrines built to his gods. And if he goes back, and when he went back to said village, people treat him differently because he was like, oh, you're getting sheltered by the faithful of your religion. They believe in you, and they have you've earned their trust and respect, and so that kind of comes into play. The core family in large multi-generational homes all keep track of family history, and parents are to teach their kids their legacy and the history of old charm, bracelets, and necklace. Oh, so like the first necklace that a child gets might be a first necklace that the great-great-grandfather also wore. Grandmother. That's really good. So, the backgrounds, from what I can tell, the idea is good, but it needs to... You lose a little bit of interesting, charming detail. Now, a lot of backgrounds were pretty shit, so these probably are slightly more flexible in what they can do, but... Yeah. No, the old charms of the dead family members. The expert turned into a giant rope of charms to remember the legacy. Every dead heron's charms, bracelet, necklaces is kept in the house of the ring family, displaying their home. All the village started for his tradition. Interesting. So the more charms a family has, or necklace and similar, the more respect they're going to have over a larger with the other herons, because it's like, oh, their house is filled with charms and necklaces and bracelets and this, that, and this other thing. Yeah, okay. Artisan, you begin mopping floors and scrubbing. So, intelligence, they're all kind of the same. Charlatan, language, infernal. How'd you learn infernal? Criminal. They feel so much more generic than what we had before, and I don't like it at all. There are some really cool backgrounds, and they've took those away. Like okay, guard, you get +2/+1 wisdom, athletics, perceptions, gaming set, language, dwarfish, feet, alert. Okay, why did you get dwarfish? Why do you get dwarfish? Alert makes sense, but you could change it. Why does the guide get magic initiate? Why does the farmer get tough? Why does the entertainer get... Well, the entertainer gets musician, but it doesn't have to be a musician, right? Weird choice to go for these. Laborer, noble... It feels like they're filing down a lot, like the specialty, like the interesting bits that the end could use in these backgrounds, and I'm not a fan. Sage, sailor, soldier, urchin, feet lucky, common sign language. That's a set. Okay, that's good. All first names are fairly unisex. They tend to be based on things such as description words, like vivid, hopeful, environment, or common middle of first names are based on environments such as river, fjord, and hill. I am about to play a Lapin, or a Heron, I guess, in a different campaign, and he is called, Ros, which is Rose in Breton, which I quite like. He's Rose of the Petal, and he's a Petal Knight. Or Rose of the Thorns, of the Thorn, he's a Petal Knight. Starting languages, you have Common Sign Language, Dwarvish, Elvish, Giant, Gnomish, Goblin, Halfling, Orc. Abyssal, Celestial, Deep Speech, Draconic, Druidic, Infernal, Primordial, Sylvan, Thieves' Cant, Undercommon. So they're removing some of the more weirder ones. Let's check the feats. Languages are whatever. If there's still spells, the problem with the language isn't the option. The interesting is to remove stuff like comprehend all languages and similar. Or at least make it higher level. Last names tend to be the name of the warden, or in other words, the Heron village or towns they're from the city, or in the words, the hills. Oh. So say you have a village called Warrington. Then somebody would be Heron name of Warrington. What do you do when you have to Heron with the same name? How do they distinguish between different same named Heron? Part of the feat. Level. Each feat is a level. To take a feat, your level must equal or exceed the feat's level prerequisite. You must meet any prerequisite specified in a feat to take that feat. If you lose the feat's prerequisite, you can't use that feat until you regain the prerequisite. Okay. Repeatable. Feats repeatable feats. Okay. If a feat is repeatable, you can take it more than once. If it isn't repeatable, you can't take the feat only once. Cool. I like that. Alert. Allows you to add proficiency bonus that's the same. Immediately after you roll initiative, you can swap your initiative, which is when you roll initiative, you can add your proficiency bonus to the roll, just so you know. If they have the same name, it goes Hill of Warrington the Rich. The Rich? Why the Rich? Oh, like an added adjective to describe them. So it's like the lesser, the greater, the rich, and similar. Or is that what you mean? A title, yeah. Okay. I like that. Actually, that's pretty good. Look, I just so you could maybe keep it for another time, or if you want to do that, unless you've written down. Especially for the maps. I have a Discord where you could share the maps and similar, not to steal them or anything. I'd love to see them, and that way it's an easy way for you to share them, and you don't just put them out on anywhere. If you're interested in joining. Immediately after you roll initiative, you can swap your initiative. Initiative of one willing ally in the same combat. You can't make the swap if you're the ally is incapacitated. Okay, wonderful. This is alert, just better. Crafter, you always want to take this one. This is a pretty good level 1 feat. Crafter. You gain 2 proficiency whenever you buy a non-magical item. You receive a 20% discount on it. Okay. When you craft an item using a tool of which you have 2 proficiency, the required crafting time is reduced by 20%. People don't craft very often, but the 20% discount over a longer campaign probably makes a huge difference. Holy fuck. 20%. For anything non-magical, this is big. Healer. After training in intuition to grant Mr. First Aid and other care effects, can you take it again? I'll repeat no. You can't stack it. You have to training in. Okay. If you have a healer's kit, you can expend 1 use of it and tend to a creature within 5 feet of you as an action. That creature can expend 1 of its hit die, and then roll that die. The creature regains a number of hit points equal to the roll plus your proficiency bonus. Healing rerolls. Whenever you roll a die to determine the number of hit points you restore with a spell or with this feat's battle medic benefit, you can roll the die if it rolls a 1, and you must use the new roll. Wow. That's really good. That even goes well with like healing spells, because before healer and picking the healer feat and being a healer character kind of was negative synergy because they were kind of taking off the same slots. I like that. These are good feats so far. Lucky, yeah, you get luck points. If a number of luck points equal to a proficiency bonus, you can spend the points and the benefits below, and you regain your spent luck points when you finish them. Advantage, immediately after you roll a d20. Oh, that's so annoying. I hate it. It's gonna be so much extra rolling all the time. When a creature rolls d20 for an attack roll against you, you can spend 1 luck point to impose an advantage on that roll. Magic feat. Repeatable, yes, but you must use a different spell list each time. You have learned the basic particular magical tradition. Choose one spell list. Arcane, Divine, or Primal. So they've, at a guess, they've taken all the different schools and instead split spells into Arcane, Primal, and Divine. They put them together and then split them into smaller categories. Let's be honest, a lot of these schools, so can I have a Neuralink? Does it not work? It was a permanent link. I'm terribly sorry. I didn't notice it. I'm so sorry. I have to adjust the link. I had a permanent link, so I'm very surprised. But give me a second. How did it maybe have a maximum number of views? Yeah. I'll update that later. I have to write that down. Odd. But yeah, you're welcome. There you go. Thank you for telling me. So you get 2 cantrips, 1 first level spell. So you could be a wizard that has healing. Interesting. Whenever you get a new spell, you can place this feat with a different spell of the same level from the chosen spell list. Alright. Musician, you gain an instrument. Inspiring song. As after finish a short rest or a long rest, you can play a song on a musical instrument with which you have tool proficiency and give inspiration to others who hear the song. The number of hours you can affect this way equals to your bonus proficiency. You can players can give inspiration to each other. Nice. Savage attacker, you have trained to deal particular damaging strikes and take the attack action, hit the target with a weapon. If part of that action, you can roll the weapon's damage dice twice and use either roll against the target. You can use this benefit only once per turn. Once per turn? It's a lot. We're rolling. Skilled. Yeah, if accessory brought learning, you choose 3 skills in which you lack proficiency, you gain proficiency in those skills. Repeatable, so you could stack skills like a motherfucker. Like, you could get the skilled feat, and get another skill with the background. That's 6 free skills. You then play a rogue, but I think you can actually achieve level 1, have proficiency in all the skills. That's really funny. What are you good at? Yes. That's a tavern brawler. Enhanced an arm strike. I hope they fucking fix. Oh yes, thank you. An arm strike's a proper thing now. No more arguing about it. And deals to bludgeoning damage in 1d for strength modifiers with the normal damage non-arm strike. Whenever you roll a damage die for your non-arm strike, you roll a die if it rolls a 1, and you must use the new roll shove. When your creature with an unarmed strike is part of the action in your turn, you can deal damage to each and push it 5 feet away. You can use this benefit only once per turn. Furniture as weapon. You can wield furniture as a weapon using the rules of the Great Club for small or medium furniture, rules for club for tiny furniture. What counts as medium furniture? What counts as, like, small furniture would be like a chair, right? What counts as medium furniture? Can I throw a table at a person? Tough. Hit points. Maximum increased by an amount equal to twice the character level when you gain his feat. Whenever you gain a level thereafter, your hit points maximum increased by an additional 2 hit points. Ooh, okay. Here's some rules. That's just some sample. That's not many. I like the level 1 feats a lot. These are good. The glossary includes game terms that have numerous meanings. Okay, well, what? Arcane spells. Draws on the ambient magic of the multiverse. Bards, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards. Harmless magic as do artificers. I hate that it's as do artificers. Like, oh yeah, right, we have artificers too. Why you did my favorite class like that? For a particular list, for conspiracy the spell list. Artisan tools, well, we've talked about that. See that, you know, those tools now cost 15 gold 50 gold apiece. Now. Creature type. Every creature in D&D, including every player character, has special attack in the rules that identifies the type of creature they are. Most player characters are of the humanoid type. This list of game creature types in alphabetical order: aberration, beast, celestial, construct, dragon, elemental, fae, fiend, giant, humanoid, monstrosity, ooze, plant, undead. Is the plasmoid an ooze? I don't know. These types don't have rules themselves, but some rules in the game affect creatures of certain types in different ways. For example, the description of Cure Wounds specifies the spell doesn't benefit a construct. D20 test. There you go. This low-key is, I think, the reason I want to do the stream in the first place. I saw this and went, no, how dare you. The term D20 test encompasses the three main D20 rolls of the game: ability check, attack rolls, and saving throws. If something in the game affects D20 test, it affects all three of these rolls. The DM determines whether a D20 test is warranted in any given circumstance. To be warranted, a D20 test must have a target number no less than 5 and no greater than 30. I posted some of your maps. I hope I will look at them after the stream. Oh, I like them. They're very cute. I'll look at them properly later, but thank you for sharing. You're very kind. I'll look at them because I feel like they deserve a bit more attention than what I'm currently doing during the stream. I like them. Especially the last one. It's like a tavern-like building. It looks like it. Okay. Determine whether the teacher is because what you must have a number no less than 5 and no greater than 30. Fair. Rolling 1. If you roll a 1 on the D20, the D20 test automatically fails regardless of any modifiers to the rolls. Really? So you can fail regardless of how high you stack something if you roll a 1. So critical fails are a thing. That's already sucky. Because it feels like some characters should be good enough of something that they shouldn't fail on it just because they rolled a 1. Like that they should have a threshold of things where it's like these things are so easy, I should be able to do them regardless. Anyway. Rolling a 20. If you roll a 20 on D20 test, the D20 test automatically succeeds, regardless of any modifiers to the roll. A player character also gains inspiration when rolling the 20, thanks to the remarkable success. Whether the 20 doesn't bypass limitations of the test, such as range and line of sight. The 20 bypass only bonus and penalties to the roll. I hate this. You know what this means? A player can go, I want to roll persuasion to seduce the dragon. And now the DM has to be mean and go, no. Before, you could at least be like, sure, roll for it. And you just go, sorry, you didn't roll high enough. Right? Now, anyone can attempt something. Like, the wizard could be trying to read a book or do something. The dumb dwarf next to him could be like, I'm a good try too. The player gets lucky when the player gets to succeed at something. When the other who is meant to be good at it didn't. Or, as a DM, you force me to be mean and tell a player, oh, you can't do it. Which is like, it feels like it shouldn't be an automatic success. You shouldn't be attempting things that are so impossibly hard that incredible people might be able to do it, but at level 1 you shouldn't be able to do it. At level 1, you shouldn't be able to take a frog and throw it. I have it so that each person in the party can hold to inspiration. Every player, my game it's like that too, they can also give each other inspiration. The idea was to have them use more inspiration. It doesn't always work. They forget they haven't. The fact that rolling a 20 gives you inspiration, however, is a good thing. That I like, because it's in the end a 5% chance to roll it, so it's not going to happen all the time. It's enough to me to happen that I feel like giving an automatic success is wrong, but give them, they can have 2 inspiration. Oh, 2 inspiration can hold. Oh, I'm sorry. When I said it can hold 2 inspiration, it was like, I have that similar. But no, 2. That's it. I don't hate that. I don't hate that, actually. The problem for me is that they just don't use inspiration enough. So I haven't really had a reason to give them more inspiration, because then now I have 2 inspiration instead of critical hits. Weapons and unarmed strikes have special features for player characters' critical hits. If a player character rolls a 20 for an attack roll for a weapon or an unarmed strike, the attack is also a critical hit, which means it deals extra damage to the target. You roll the damage dice of the weapon on an armed strike a second time, and add the second roll as an extra damage to the target. For example, mace deals slashing damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier. If you roll a critical hit with the mace, it instead deals 2d6 plus your strength modifier. If a weapon or an armed strike has no damage die, it deals no extra damage on a critical hit. Why do monsters lose critical hits? Some of my favorite moments, some of the most memorable moments, come from monsters critting. You're fighting a bunch of goblins, and the goblin keeps sitting there and shoots a bow. And you're not taking them seriously, and the goblin shoots the arrow, and BAM! Fucking nails somebody. Critical hit, good amount of damage. Suddenly the fight is like, oh shit, we need to be more serious. We have to pay attention. If they can't crit, I might as well use average damage, right? They hit, okay, you take the average amount of damage. Where's the fun in the crit is there, so sometimes they'll swing and miss, and sometimes they'll swing and really hit you. I don't agree with this change at all. I really, really don't agree with it. Crits deserve to go to both people. In my book. At least to me. Can I tell you about one of my big bad evil guys? Of course you can, Gavin. Of course you can. So welcome back, Bird. I think you went off to have dinner, didn't you? Narbaxi's a psychic plant from the Underdark, but got dumped on the surface to die when the experiment dumped Narbaxi wasn't successful enough for the mind flares. It's trying to conquer the surface by taking over and puppeteering corpses of animals, peoples, or monsters which finds it. Either kills by infecting or finds a dead body. Oh, that's a really cool, really cool big bad BBG. I really like this. That's an interesting, because they're an rogue experiment gone wrong, right? From what I understand. It's not their fault they're evil. They'll let you engineer to do that, to survive. Especially if it's a plant. How sentient is it? I have to ask. Divine spells. A divine spell draws on the power of gods on the outer planes. Not exactly in any. My sister made pizza dough, and now we have to wait an hour to make the pizza. Yeah, it's just trying to survive. So it's villainous, but it's a different kind of villain. It doesn't know it. It doesn't know better. Which means you can really go in the weird and strange and just inhuman. It's no sense of moral. And it could appear at any moment, right? Oh, the plan has happened to reach this place. And now you have to escape from the various puppeteered corpses and similar that it's infesting right now. Very, very cool. Divine spells are clerics and paladins. It's fine. Gaming sets, well, it's a tool. Grappled. It's a hive mind that's psychic. So it has some sentience. It's like focused on surviving, but it has sentience. It's got intellect of 11. Yeah, it should be slightly above average. Speed is Syrian can change attacks affected. You have disadvantage in attack rolls against any target under the grappler. The grappler can drag or carry you, but regardless you have the slowed condition while moving, unless you're tiny or 2 more size smaller than the grappler. Escape. While grappled, you can make a dexterity strength saving throw against the grappler. Escape DC at the end of each of your turns. Any condition yourself in its success. The condition ends if the grappler is incapacitated if something moves you outside of the grappler's range without using your speed. What's the Grappler's Escape DC? The Grappler's Escape DLC. Interesting that they're not setting it. Probably gonna be some more. Incapacitated. You can't take action reactions. Your concentration is broken. You can't speak. Surprised if incapacitated when you roll initiative. You have disadvantage on the roll. Former slave fight pit. Jenna 67 is a lich of great power. Jenna the Goblin Lich's main goal is to free goblins of oppression. She kind of has a cult following and she has a religious-like order of goblins to serve her religiously. Jenna's evil sub-goal is to oppress humans to make them feel her pain. How did she become a lich if she was a pit fighter? These are all very different characters. Good job to make like so many different, to make two very different villains for your story. Inspiration. When you have inspiration, you spend it to give yourself attention. D20 test, you must gain inspiration. We talked about it. Only one at a time, losing inspiration. You still have inspiration. When you start a long rest, you lose that inspiration. So you can target. You actually need to. Maybe that's a good way to introduce it. I'll have to remember that. I like that. A long rest is a period of. She escaped and found a book about lichdom. Oh, and she was successful. Interesting. Which your creature sleeps for 6 days out first. No more than 2 hours of light activity such as rest, reading, talking, eating, and standing watch. Benefits of the rest. Creature get all lost hit points. The creatures regain spent hit up to half the creature's total number of them. A creature can't benefit from more than one long rest in a 24-hour period, and a creature must have at least 1 hit point at the start of the rest to gain its benefits. Musical instruments. A category of tools with which a character interrupts skill. Must be restarted. The creature gets the benefit of a short rest. Oh, so short rests are still there. Musical instruments are a category of tools which a character could gain 2 proficiency. Primal spells such as Primal Sloat. Spend 1 extra foot of movement for every foot of movement, so basically half your movement speed. Attack rolls against you have advantage. You have disadvantage in dexterity saving throws. Makes sense. So Wizard and Artificer, she has some sneaky skills. And she was a pit fighter? Pretty cool lady right there. Tremor Sense can pinpoint the location of creatures and moving. 2 proficiency gain advantage when using things with your tool. Creature with Tremor Sense can pinpoint the location of creatures and moving objects. It's not very interesting until we know what they we can use that for. A creature with Tremor Sense can pinpoint the location of creatures and moving objects with a specific range, provided that the creature with Tremor Sense and anything it's detecting are both in contact with the same surfaces, the ground, the wall, the ceiling, on the same liquid. Tremor Sense can attack creatures or objects in the air, and Tremor Sense doesn't count as form of sight. She's about being pit fighter, but being sneaky. I get it. Yeah, basically just being very, very clever about she does with her own skills. Yeah, makes sense. Unarmed strike. Unarmed strike is a melee attack that involves using your body to damage, grapple, or shove a target from your reach. Fun fact: not everything counts as an unarmed strike. If you slap somebody with claws, it doesn't always count as an unarmed strike. At least in the current edition. Your bonus to hit with an unarmed strike equals the strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus, and a hit your unarmed strike causes one of the following effects you adjust. Damage, you take plus 1 plus your strength modifier, grapple. There's the DC. The target is grappled, and the grapple is giving you 8 plus your dexterity proficiency bonus. So this grab is possible, okay? Shove, 5 feet, we knew that. Spell list. I won't go through the spell list, because I think it's boring to go through. Also because this is 100% going to change. That's level 1 spells only. Right, there you go. That's the very first Unearthed Arcana for One D&D. It feels like they're turning a lot of things very generic. Like they're letting a lot more. They're removing a lot of things to let people add to their character that maybe aren't coming up a lot, but they'd come up during game eventually. And instead, they're just filing away everything until all you have left is a very basic way to build characters. The maybe the feats are going to be the ones where you add the interesting thing. But so far, if I'm a level 1 character and I get the feat alert and I was a guard, cool. I'm a town guard, that is alert, I speak Dwarven in common, and I have +2 in strength, +1 in wisdom because I'm a guard. Okay, but what does the guard bring? What does... Did I learn any skills from being a guard? Is there anything? For example, if you go right now in the backgrounds and say you're soldier, it's a type of guard, right? And you go for soldier. Oh, you get specific roles you could have. You have a military rank, so if you go to places with a different who also have like a belong to your own group, they instantly recognize you. If you were somewhat higher, you might even have a certain authority and influence. You might even be able to recognize the military structure from it. Like, sure, you could argue it's implied in the other one, but it's not. It's unless it's written, you don't know if it's implied. You're letting a lot of guesswork ready. They need to remove guesswork. You need to leave spaces for people to be creative, not for people to guess, I think. And that's the thing. Okay, you're lucky. What does it mean? You just happen to be lucky. Cool. But like, how does lucky influence in the background? If I'm a lucky hermit or a lucky gladiator, there's nothing really playing off it that makes me go, yeah, that works. I hope that they do not just decide to keep things simple and on the easier side rather than actually sit down and ask themselves, hey, how can we make this interesting for everyone? How can we make sure that DMs and players look at the background and go, oh, this speaks to me, this is cool, I want to play this. Right now, very little of these things really made me go, well, no, the dwarf definitely did. Made me go, oh, I want to play this. I can't wait to play the new elf. I can't wait to play the new artling, the new human, the new dragonborn. And I can't wait. And I'm going to make a dragonborn. And he's going to be guard. He's going to be an entertainer or a cultist. It's so generic that you could remove the cultist. We could cover cultists up. Like, right? We cover this up. You know, just go to, just change the color to whatever, you know, just whatever, and change from cultist to I don't know, cleric, intelligence 2, charisma 1, arcana religion, disguise kit, abyssal. Why are you abyssal? Could find easily a reason. Oh, he hunts demons, and it's the exact same thing. There's nothing. It's too basic, too basic. And I fear they're going to file down so much cool ways of expressing themselves. So many ways to people to help, because people are going to pay $50. Remember, this is free, but once the actual books are out, people are going to pay $50 to be told, by the way, you put +2 there, +1 there, check to mark these 2 things, get a random tool, get a random language, and get a random feat. Something for that, I do not need to pay $50 for. That's the thing. The price is going to make me really feel like it's too high for what they're going for. In my opinion. Now, obviously, I am but one single person who plays this game. There's millions and millions and millions currently playing it. I did not count much, but I definitely will try to use my go ahead and try to add my feedback to it. Some good ideas, like the inspiration being easier to get, but also easier to go away, might actually push people to do more things that gives inspiration. so that it keeps being used and you can reward it. So that's good. But I do not like a lot of these changes. I feel like it makes things a bit too generic. And I feel that people deserve, for the money they get, a lot more than this. I've heard the same thing said about the newer books. If I can get my hands on them in a legal way, we're going to go through them. If not, we won't. I'm not sure people really like the stream or not. I don't care. I had fun. Gabby was lovingly told us about their world that they're currently working on. I do not know if what pronouns you prefer. Thus, I will go with the safety one. If you have preferred pronouns, please let me know. But yeah, thank you very much for coming. This is going to be me. I'll stop here. Tomorrow, since we're doing 2 D&D things in a row, I'll actually play something else tomorrow. We will do 1000-Year-Old Vampire next week on Sunday. 100%. So I don't want to do 2 writing, talking streams like this in a row. Like, I want to actually keep a certain level of variety in the stream. But either way, you guys have been really fun. Thank you very much for coming. I will send you over to... There's a lot of people playing Cult of the Lamb. No, thank you for coming. No need to thank me. I very much appreciate everybody, each and everyone coming to the stream. You're amazing to be giving your time to me willingly. And thus I appreciate it a lot. Now, who shall we raid? Kurikutsu is currently streaming Called Off the Lab. I'll send you over to Kurikutsu. And I shall see you. Wait, I forgot. Haha! Bye-bye.